This is answer. I'm sure you already know this legendary dragon. Now watch me stun this pile of bones over and over. Bro, what is this boss design? Bro didn't get a single turn. So how do you keep a legendary dragon permanently stunned? We stack Bane, Cutting Words, Lucky Feet, and Portent Die. Anything to lower enemy saving throws. So when we make attempt to stun and the enemy actually saves, our reaction kicks in and they get stunned. Plus, we cast the Bane spell and it's almost impossible for them to get away with it. And it starts to feel like we can stun enemies on demand, or at least far more reliably. And even more so when we add items like Reverberation debuff. On top of that, Stunning Strike is one of the conditions that doesn't get resisted, even by the big bats. So for the Monk fans, finally, Stunning Strike doesn't suck. It's just chef's kiss. With that out of the way, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Okay, bear with me, this build actually has several different options, but for now, let's get our Stunning Strike online with 6 levels in Monk, extra movement, and extra attack for our second stunning attempt. The Monk subclass is actually insignificant for this build. We will not be spending our key points to topples, shoves, or even blasting firebolts, because our key is reserved for Stunning Strike and Stunning Strike only. But Shadow Monk actually has a built-in teleport, basically Misty Step at level 6, and I think we can make use of that. The agility of a monk is very useful. We get in, Stunning Strike, get out, rinse and repeat. The thing is, this build is actually pretty squishy compared to most melee builds or just monks in general. So this strategy just makes sense. And this is simply great to slip away if we pin on a corner. Oh, and actually, I'm considering the Open Hand Monk level 6 feature. You can restore some key points, which is useful if you keep failing to stun the boss or if the fight drags on past 6 rounds or so. And Manifestation of Soul, additional radiant damage, is great when we are utilizing Reverberation set of items, which lowers enemy con saves. Moving on, next up is Bard, specifically for the Bane spell and Cutting Words from Lore Bard. Bane is my bread and butter for lowering enemy saving throws, though most of the time I don't want to waste my action economy and would rather just go for the stun right away. On top of that, Bane actually has charisma save against it. It still works most of the time, but still, this sucks. This becomes one of the downsides of the build, which I'll come back to that later. In that case, we have Cutting Words. If the enemy rolls a number close to passing, we can subtract from it and make them fail anyway. So when we combine Bane and Cutting Words, Stunning Strike becomes on-demand disruption. Holy crap, I was so excited when I found this interaction, mostly from one of Colby's D&D builds, and actually got to use it in a real build. It is crazy. Finally, we grab the extra dice from Divination Wizard for Portent Die. And now as a wizard, we can learn Bestow Curse and cast it as a 3rd level spell. Choose the options that gives disadvantage on con saving throws. This doesn't feel like an upgrade for me personally, so this is just an option if you think the debuffs to reduce enemy saving throw is enough. Okay, I mentioned this build actually pretty flexible. Mine is 6 for 2 multiclass, plenty of key points, and all the reaction die saving throw shenanigans we need. Or go 7-5, more key points, we get Evasion, the godly feature to save us from deck save spells. From Bard we get the 3rd level spell, and we can learn the Bestow Curse spell, and Cutting Words now refreshes on short rest. 8-4 or 9-3 for even more key points, more stunning attempts. And there's the 6-6, now Lore Bards gets access to magical secrets and grabs some useful spells like counter spells and Spirit Guardians. It's practical for adding Reverberation debuff and lower enemy saving throw even further. But this means your Shadow Monk option is locked away. So which do you think is better? Let me know in the comments. There you have it, the whole multiclass progression. Next, let's set our ability scores. Obviously, we max out strength. Before we get to stun, we actually need to hit first. Dex is great for initiative. If we get the first turn, we can stun the enemies before they get to move. Lastly, con for maintaining concentration on spell. Personally, I'll drop my strength, chuck myself the strength elixir instead, and invest in one of the casting stats. For the feat, the obvious choice is Tavern Brawler because doubling our hit chance is insanely good. and we can actually use Lucky as a reaction, ends up lowering enemy saving throw, just like what we did with Cutting Words. Before I hear the scream from D&D vets, listen, this is BG3, okay? Sorry, but when it works, it just works. Pick any race you like to play, but I do recommend races with higher movement speed. For me, I chose Lae'zel. The Gith get a free Misty Step at level 5. It is great for situations like avoiding a boss opportunity attack. This build mainly focuses on lowering enemy con saves to make Stunning Strike work. Most of them are pretty situational, so let's gather them all in one place. Let's start with these 3 gloves. Gloves of Power lower all enemy saves by a D4, effective on almost any enemy, even bosses, but they do require your monk to equip a weapon. Just a quick tip, this gets very effective if you're dual wielding light weapons. Use your bonus action to apply debuff, then start attempting stuns with your action. I think this setup fits best if you're playing Shadow Monk for this build and locking Manifestation of Soul away. Everyone's favorite monk gloves, the Hell Dusk. The bleeding debuff causes disadvantage on con saves, but it's useless against Construct and Undead. And those guys are a huge chunk of the bosses in Act 3 and plenty in Act 2. Then there are the Gloves of Belligerent Skies, great for open hand radiant damage buff, or if you're planning to run Spirit Guardians with 6th level Lore Bard. Reverberation is known for debuffing enemy saves, specifically Strength, Dex, and in this case, the con save. This one is more universal because the Reverberation debuff can be applied to any type of enemies. Other than that, I'd actually recommend going armorless for this build to fully utilize the monk's agility and high movement speed, get in, stun, and get out. Remember, no matter what you equip, you're still a squishy monk. In that case, spell save DC Ropes, aka the Caster Ropes, might help us land a debuff spell. If you're considering using weapons, Valar Aluve has the Shrieks feature to lower enemy saving throws, or you can run any spellcasting staff to help us land our debuff spell. Last but not least, Resonance Stone will make a huge difference when it comes to control spell and casters in general. Place it on this build's inventory and always get it close to your enemy. And items aside, if you have a Beastmaster Ranger in your party, the Wolf Companion has Infectious Bite, which can lower con saves even more. Unlike most builds, this one really needs a proper setup to work, or your chance to stun drops a lot. That said, on the first round, pick your debuff spell of choice and then survive. Seriously, just survive until your next turn. If you manage to get away from boss's grasp, go back in, apply more debuffs, and boom! Your stun setup is ready at that point. You've got like a 90% chance to land a stun. On the subsequent round, just apply debuff, stun, rinse and repeat. This build carries a crowd control or disruptor trait and a debuffer. It can basically take over those roles in your party which normally fall into your spellcasters, wizards, clerics, or a sorcerer who are usually stuck to focus on control and debuffs, but with this build, they are free to go full-on AoE damage instead. Something like the classic Fire Draconic Sorcerer or Flamethrower builds, whatever you wanna call it, or Poison Lightning Draconic Sorcerer, or as you can see in my clip, an Eldritch Machine Gunner. This build positioning also shifts how your tank works. Barbarian multiclass are also often built with some crowd control tools to boost their value, like Wild Magic Barbarian or Battlemaster multiclass, or my previous build, Eagleheart plus Hammerhawk build, lean into more crowd control and disruption. They can lean fully into burst tank, like a Barbarian Paladin. They get easy advantage on attack roll for their smites and get higher chance for critical hits. This build has so many complications. I am sort of trapped in a dilemma. First off, our key points are limited. If the enemy's roll isn't pushed low enough, like not applying more debuffs, I'm not saying if one of those pieces isn't there, the build becomes useless. It's just our key points are so limited. So failing to stun the enemy feels like a huge hit on my side. There's also the action economy question every fight. Do you go straight for Stunning Strike or spend a turn casting debuff spell first? And remember, those spells also have saving throws, so none of them is fully guaranteed. Meanwhile, you're still a squishy monk. Like it or not, monk is a frontliner. He has to get in and will take a few punches on the face once or twice. Nothing's wrong with that until we're concentrating on the spell or getting pinned down and have to skip a turn. These things can break your setup entirely. And this build shines the most in a single boss scenarios. One big target like Answer, where you can peacefully do your setup without any interruption from the boss's minions. Even when I made the game clips, Answer here has 2 elemental minions along with him. And that's it for the video. Let me know if I missed anything. I hope this video was insightful and found something to flavor your next BG3 playthrough. Thank you to those who subscribed. I'll see you next time.